After reading the question, the first thing you want to do is to draw a triangle so that you have a better understanding of what the angles and sides are. And you know that they give you the side of 250 meters, which is going to be the hypotenuse, and an angle of 75 degrees. Since they're asking for the triangle with the largest area, that's going to be a right triangle. And that right triangle means it's going to have a 90-degree angle. So you already have two of the angles and a side. With one side in the angle, you can lose the law of sines. The law of sines can be used to solve for any triangle that has an angle and the opposite measure. And by doing that, you end up with one of the opposite sides because we had two angles, but only one side. Now you have two sides and two angles. Before we can find the third side and angle, we'd need a side or an angle. To do that, we're just going to use basic properties of the triangle, that it will have 180 degrees in all the angles added together. So, we do 180 minus the 90-degree angle minus the 75-degree angle. Now that we have all but one of the sides, we can use the law of cosine to solve for that. You do c squared equal to a squared plus b squared minus 2ab cosine theta. And that cosine theta is going to be the angle of c. It doesn't really matter what you label it as, but because this is a right triangle, it's better to label c as the hypotenuse. When you find that, you now have all three sides and all three angles. The last thing that question asks for is the area of the triangle. The area of the triangle can be found using the simple equation 1/2 AB sine of c, or 1/2 AB because it's a right triangle and sine of 90 equals 1. So there you have it, and you've just solved the first part of this question. Now on to part B. Part B, they didn't give you any of the angles. And while this triangle may look like it has 90-degree angle, it's really not. Or even if it does, you can't know that for sure. So the only real thing you can do is to use the law of cosines again. Here we have the law of cosines again. C squared equals a squared plus b squared minus 2ab cosine c. This time though, we're not solving for side, we're solving for the angle. And this might be a little bit tricky because you have to do an arc cosine or cosine inverse. But you really just need a calculator for that. And with that, you can find the angle of C, or the 37 side in this case. Now on to the final step for this problem. It's really a two-part step, but because it's the same thing over, I'm going to include this in the same one. You're going to use the law of sines to solve for the other two angles. You have the sine of the 81.35 degree angle over 37 equals the sine of x over 24, which is also equal to the sine of y over 32. And this gives you angles of 47.95 and 50.7. With that, you've used triangle area formula, the law of sine, and the law of cosine to solve for a triangle and its area.